I just got out of this pitch workshop. Hey, from Uruguay, and older Danny, welcome. This pitch workshop was as part of the Manhattan Theater Film Festival. The Filmmakers, my film was in this film festival. They offered us an opportunity to meet with an agent, and if we signed up for the workshop. And let me just tell you something. If you are a filmmaker and the film festival offers you the opportunity to participate in these workshops with unbelievable professionals, take advantage of it, because one of the guys that was there was from LA. His film, Am I Famous? I don't know, look me up on IMDb. What do you consider famous? How do I sell my books? Well, this was not, this was specifically for film and television content. He was talking a lot about television series and pilot pitches, how you pitch both for film to get not only to try to get an agent, but also to try to get a producer to be interested in it, networks. He talked about studios, and he talked about financing, like how to do right? It was very cool. Also, the integration of the financing and how you work that in with your pitch. And then we got to go around the room and do pitches, which you never, like, even if you go to these big pitch workshops, for you to have a chance to go around the room and kind of hone your pitches, because I asked at one point, I was like, well, why the hell not? I said, you know, do we get a chance to do a pitch for you so that we can see, you know, where we're failing or where we're doing great? If we have a hook on our pitch or don't have a hook on our pitch. And he was like, yeah, let's just go around the room one by one. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me what your ideas are. And so we got a chance to work it. So I did not know I was going to have the opportunity to do that after opening my big mouth, but luckily I had on my iPhone, I had done this before. I had made a list of all of my titles of my films, projects, series, and I had the titles and I had the log lines for each of them. And I had one that I thought was pretty good, and I've never pitched, by the way, before. I just produce my own movies. I write them and then I produce them. So yeah, it was like the elevator pitch. You had the chance to do the elevator pitch, and it was an exciting surprise. But luckily I had it all written down on my phone, so I could just turn to my notes and go, okay, this is what it is. I'm going to do the one that I think is very sellable first. And then he also let me do another one, which was really terrific for the feature that I feel like the log line isn't very strong on yet. And everybody in the room that is filmmakers actually thought that it was strong, which was exciting for me because it gave me confidence. So he actually asked for my card afterwards, which was wonderful, and then asked me a lot more information about some of the projects. But the number one thing that he told me was to go in with more confidence, to like that my ideas were fantastic, but that if I was pitching to somebody like HBO isn't going to take a chance on somebody who isn't absolutely confident about their pitch. He said sometimes they even make you act out the scenes. How crazy is that? But what a great advantage for an actor, that they'll want you to, if they start talking to you more about it, they'll be like, well, what are you talking about? What scenes? What do you, how do you envision that? And you end up actually acting out part of the film for them, or the series, or whatever it is. How cool is that, right? Everybody should follow Bonnie Gillespie if they want to know about how to get their ass in gear in this business, because since I've been with her since December, it's unbelievable how much I have accomplished. So, okay, so we talked about number one, obviously, yeah, amen, right, Courtney? That copywriting your idea, he talked about that, which we've spoken about in my past Periscopes before, that your idea has to be copywritten, but that means you cannot copyright an idea, but you have to try. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're helping me elevate my own game, let me tell you. Plus, you know what? It takes a village, people. And that was actually one of the things he talked about today. Yeah, copyrighted, not copywritten. Exactly. Thank you, Bonnie. You have to get a copyright because you have to have it written down. Whatever your idea is, you can't copyright, obviously, an idea. You have to have something written down. But then he also talked about how it's absolutely possible for those ideas also to be stolen, just rewritten by studios. And So it was an interesting discussion about that and how you can, the treatment, write out a treatment or the script. Yes, this is New York City. Yes, it is. This is New York City. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it great? Give you a little overview of New York City. And then, okay, let me go through some of the things. Make sure that your copyright is, or your WGA is done ahead of time. He did mention that WGA, one advantage is if you are a member of WGA, that they have attorneys there. Yes, but that, how many of us are actually a member of the WGA? It's extremely expensive to become a member of the WGA, but he was saying that if you do register the script with the WGA, that they have resources to help you should you feel that your copyright has been infringed on, or your idea, your actual script, because you can't copyright the idea, but your script might have been, right? It is. Whenever you walk through New York City, you guys, you get a workout. So, yes, but if you want to be a WGA member, the registration process is worth doing. Absolutely. Plus, you know what? You can, when you can register your script without being a member of the WGA too. You just probably won't have access to like their actors and everything. He did talk about, some people were in the room wanting to know, that's true. Some people wanted to know, that's a garbage truck. That's what's making all the noise, is the garbage truck. Wanted to know like about pitching to agents, and basically he said is once you get your script out there and your scripts get sold or your films start getting distributed, those agents are going to come to you. So you going out and really trying to solicit an agent is, he didn't say it outright, but he was basically saying you're in better shape if you go out, get your stuff made, you make it yourself, and then it gets distribution and the agents will actually come to you. If you start selling things, people are going to want to know it. And then one woman who sold a couple of things has never tried to pursue an agent, and he was basically, looked at her like, what are you, a nutcase? There's New York. They wanted to know, basically, she was saying, I haven't tried to get an agent. And he's saying, but if you sold things, if you've sold things, then of course you have a way to get that agent pretty quickly because they're seeing that you're able to make money. So let me go to my notes here. Oh, he was saying, first of all, if you already know what your log line is and your pitch is really solid with your log line and your title, that it's really important for many producers to see what's called a show Bible. Or not a show Bible, but it really was called like, it's basically a Bible that has all of your character breakdowns in it and where you see the arc of the characters going, which is extremely important, particularly in television, that you should have it in front of you, but you should not be reading from it. You obviously should be engaging. So yeah, the treatment deck, that's exactly it. He was calling it a Bible, some kind of a Bible. But it basically has all the images on it, and it has everything about, all your treatment for the characters, their arcs, and then obviously you'd have your script there, but you wouldn't be necessarily, yes, show Bible is just a ton of information, but he was basically saying you're not going to use it all, but to have it in a 3-ring binder, have it turned around to the people that you're pitching to, shows you have done that work. It's here. You're probably not going to have a discussion about all of that stuff, but it is done, and it is actually where it is. Then he said, and this, Bonnie, you're going to love this. Bonnie, you're going to love this. He was talking about the fact that you need to do your research on who your audience is, because they're going to want to know, like, who are you actually selling this to? Where, what audience do you see this as being similar? So you need to find out, like, let's say my film, Failure Groupies, a lot of people talk about the fact that it's a lot like Goonies, that there's some qualities to it that are Goonies. If I went in and did my research, I mean, I've already kind of sold this idea, but if I went in and looked at Goonies and found out what the budget was on that I'd be able to explain, okay, it's probably around this kind of a budget. Goonies drew in this particular amount of money back, that you would have a financial idea of who your audience is, who you could sell to, and what kind of a return they could expect on it. So to do your research shows them that you're, not just, you haven't thought through the whole process, that you're a real, you should actually, yes, demographic and budget return. Was saying that it was very important to have a business plan together, but that the business plan was more for the people you were going to pitch for finances. So if you were going to individual financiers, how that budget plan needs to be done. I have templates for that because I've gone to different producer workshops, so I do have a way of doing that. But then again, comparing it, understanding your market to know, okay, these are my potential viewers. They're in this age range. They pull in this type of, they watch the following movies. They watch the following things on Netflix. That's my audience. That you can say that, you have a higher percentage, if they were already interested in your idea, you have a higher percentage of chance of being able to sell it because they can see the return. He was talking about getting, somebody in the group said something about IFP has individual publicist lists. One of the women there that had a film, she said that she was having trouble getting distribution on her film that she had already done that was in festival until she hired a publicist. And I'm not talking about like, a huge, she got a list of people that are individual publicists, and that was extremely helpful for her to sell that movie with, because she was having trouble getting distribution on her own. Yes, the publicist equals a secret weapon. They can be very expensive. They're normally at least $3,000 a month, but that some people in the group were saying that they had found people that worked out a deal of being more like $1,500 a month, but that it was absolutely worth it. It ended up selling her movie. So I thought that was really interesting. I'm flipping my pages of my notes here. Sorry. A la carte. Yes, like a la carte services. I'm going to do this much for you. I'm going to get you in front of the following people, try to get these types of meetings because I'm going to get these articles out to these specific publications that are going to catch the eyes of these particular people. Yeah, all right, I'm fantastically crazy. Okay, so then have the rights, put everything on paper, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it was called a pitch Bible. It was called a pitch Bible. That's what I was referring to before. Then he was saying that you need 1.5 pages for a feature, as being, they can even help you get into the summer. Yes, that's the other thing. She said because some publicists weren't willing to work with her, or distributors, that they were, the pitch Bible, that they were not willing to have conversations with them unless they'd gotten into Tribeca or Sundance or blah, 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 and her films had not gotten there. But she still knew it was distributable because distributors had been interested in it, but they were looking for her to get into those festivals, and then that publicist helped her get into those festivals, which I thought was very interesting. Okay, then in terms of the treatments, 1.5 pages for a feature, 1 page for a short, and that you have to have at least six episodes written on, let's say you want to do a television series or some kind of a series. You should at least have 6 of the episodes written, and then you should have the arc for the rest of it to be done. Then, obviously talking about log lines, and then being able to finish the beginning, middle, and end. But he said you'd be surprised at how many young filmmakers start pitching from the middle, or they try to give you the end because they get so excited and they don't know what they're doing. And that your pitch always has to start from the beginning of the story, the beginning of the character's growth, whatever it is. That don't start in the middle, which seems basic, but he said you would be surprised if people get really excited, they're nervous, and so they make the mistake of not doing that. So he was saying, yes, the pitch has a story arc just like the story itself. And he was saying that you need to pitch to everybody you know. You don't take your pitch out, pitch it to absolutely everybody you know. And also, he said, have people that aren't in the business at all read your scripts. Because if you have them read your script and they're like, man, I don't want to see this, that is telling you something about it. He's an agent, and he said at one point he had to have, script readers, obviously, and that some guy had sent in 36 scripts, and the reader just said, don't bother. I'm not going to send you any of these because the first 4 were so bad. And yeah, just like getting non-industry feedback on headshots, it's all data. That's correct. So basically, if you have your mom read it, your brother read it, your cousin read it, your best friends read it, and tell me what you really think, because those people who are closest to you, some of them are going to smoke, blow smoke up your ass because they're your friends, right? And then others will eventually say, I don't know, I think this is really good, but I didn't understand this, that, or the other. So that non-industry people, was his point, non-industry people are actually better. Thank you. Non-industry people are actually better to have read your scripts because they will ask the questions that are not obvious to filmmakers that already have a shorthand for things. Because if you're going to be pitching it to sell it to somebody, it can't have that, oh, every director would know this if they just read this, the shorthand. It has to be very clear. And that doesn't mean more writing, it just means very clean writing. What else? Oh, you should always say how long is a project. They should know this is a 90-page script, this is a 120-page script. They're going to always want to know how many minutes long is this going to be. So if you don't have a clear, obviously 1 page per minute, you can explain that, but he was saying the shorter the better. And then he was talking about, some other guy in there talked about something called level 33 distribution that had been very, what do you want to say, open to new filmmakers. So I thought I just wrote that down. Then they're supposed to be online, and I'll look this up so that I can show on Periscope maybe later, something either by Film Independent or IFC, and it has the people, and you can find it on YouTube, he said, where the person that wrote Legally Blonde, and they went through a huge amount of, I couldn't write down fast enough which films, but that they do a whole thing on pitching and how they pitch. And he said what was the most fascinating about that, for another filmmaker was talking about it, was that everybody's idea, everybody's style of pitching is very different. And when the guy said to me, he said, you're obviously very excited about your project, but don't be shy about it. Like, you can, if you're waving your arms and standing up, or whatever it is, whatever your style is, whatever this personal style you have as a person, and maybe the style and genre of your films that you make, you should be embodying that in the room, which is basically like saying, Bonnie, as we've talked about before, your brand. It's your brand should be in the room, like whatever style it is that you know, maybe it's soft and romantic and whatever, but that's obviously not me, right? So that obviously, since I mostly do comedy and it has more like a Wes Anderson, Coen Brothers type film, that I can just be my weirdo self in the room, because that is exactly, then they automatically understand the style and genre that you work in. So that if you are a person that's really, really shy and you have a very difficult time pitching, the rehearsal of that's going to be very important, so that you also are embodying the brand, that makes sense, of the type of work that you do, which should be happening anyway, because if you're writing from what you know, that's probably going to come across most likely anyway, unless you're a person that really has difficulty. I guess one of those people in that IFC, that YouTube video, talks about the fact that they do all their pitches over their phone because they are absolutely incapable of performing in the room. But they learned that about themselves ahead of time, so that they know that I'm not going to be a personality in the room. My pitching should be over the phone. That's the way I work. And this is somebody who works all the time. So, I mean, I'm saying this from hearsay, but I definitely would go check that YouTube. Again, they said that was on either Independent Film Channel or Film Independent, that it was the people doing pitches. And that would be really interesting for people to watch. I know I'm going to watch it. Let me make sure I got all my notes. I got all my notes by the time I got to Port Authority. Have you guys ever seen the Times Square building? I'll show you the Times Square building. There it is. The New York Times. And I am now, oh, thank you, Bonnie. You're awesome. Are you kidding me? And I'm going to show you a little Port Authority. Man, this is New York City. This is the best. I'll tell you what, I have to go drive home So what I'm going to do is drive home, feed my kid, do the whole deal, and then maybe what I'll do is look up some of this information, like some of these things, and do a scope on it again. I'm not sure if it's going to be tonight or not, because I've got no writing done today, and I have to get that done, but I did want to check in with you guys and show you what I learned, and I'm just excited to find out my pitches didn't suck. Right, honey? Have fun, don't suck. But if you guys have questions, you know, can you tell me what your questions might be from it? Kathy, thank you, Kathy. Thank you, because I just realized that I did all the talking and walking, and you guys didn't get a chance to answer any questions. So if I have fun, don't suck, for sure. Right. I booked the room, babe. Felt like I knew a lot, which I was really shocked at. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you. Okay, so, oh, thank you, Courtney. Thank you so much for checking in. And if you have questions about this, like if you guys start to think about it, like Twitter me the question. How about that? My Twitter handle is the same handle as it is on here. And if you follow me, if this is something you're interested in, today, if you'd follow me, I'm always talking about the independent film world. And so is Kathy Carey, who's in here, and Bonnie Gillespie, and Courtney's an actress in Toronto, and it would just be great if you guys follow them. If you're interested in this industry, it's a great way to keep in touch and to communicate and ask questions and get answers. I just realized my lipstick is not looking good. Oh, you're a walker. Oh, you're an actor in LA, Hannah? Oh, cool. That's great. Do you know Bonnie? Have you worked with Bonnie? Kathy Carey, big hearts. Okay, you guys. I'll see you later. Twitter me questions about it, and I'll try to be more concise, because obviously walking through the streets of New York. Oh, you sing too. Oh, cool, Hannah. Okay, Hannah, I'm gonna follow you. You follow me, and I'll find you. Okay? Or Twitter me. Twitter me. This is New York City, guys. This is what it's all. I gotta go. They're coming for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Yeah, that's New York City.